All right, I'd like to call this meeting to order. Do we have a motion to adopt the agenda? Second? All in favor? Please join us for the invocation.
Let's pray together. Lord, we are thankful for this time we have to gather and make decisions for the well-being of students, our teachers in this county. God, just guide us as we do these things we have on our agenda tonight. In Jesus' name, amen.
Please remain standing while the East Hall High School Color Guard presents the colors and we pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America.
Color guard, forward, march, left, 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 right, right, left, left, left turn, march, left, left, color guard, halt, present, color.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Harry, color, right turn, march, left, left, forward, march, left, 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 right, right, left, left, color guard. Oh.
We have some recognitions tonight.
We do indeed. It's a great night of recognitions. We're going to start off by having Andrea Williamson English, our health services coordinator for the district, come forward. We're going to recognize some members of Northeast Georgia Health Systems tonight that have helped us with hands-only CPR. Suzanne Gerard is not here with us tonight, but she has worked with Andrea and this team to do this training throughout the district, and it's been such a success. And I'm going to ask Mallory if she will go ahead and jump to that hands-only CPR update, and we'll go through it that way, all in one shake. So thank you, Andrea.
Thank you. So I'd like to go ahead and have Cody Savage and Amy Poole come on up, and my cluster nurses. We got Angie Haynes, Janice Allison, and Leslie McIntyre. We are excited to say that Mr. Schofield has always valued heart health, and he gave us the opportunity to partner with Northeast Georgia Health System, so we really appreciate him bringing them to the table and connecting us and giving us the opportunity. So Suzanne Gerard and I sat down with him and asked him what his vision was, and we have continued that for a couple of years now. We're really pleased. So we wanted to share this presentation with you. If you would just go through the slides with us. So we were able to reach out to 9 schools, all of our high schools. We were able to do hands-only CPR, where they actually got to see a presentation and then participate in the CPR process, as well as use an AED trainer. We did over 1,200 students. We used 112 student volunteers. So that's our students serving as peer leaders. They were actually in there working with a group of their peer students and doing the CPR, making sure they're doing it correctly and giving that feedback. So it's also a learning leadership experience for them. We value our community partners, so not just Northeast Georgia Health System, but Lanier Tech provided us also some nursing students to assist us with that. And we had 10 of the Northeast Georgia folks that also volunteered, and these are 2 of our fabulous people, along with Mitch Ryder, who, bless his heart, did not have childcare tonight and thought it was too much to bring his little sweet young ones in. If you would go to the next slide. And this is a video we'd like to play for you.
Welcome to the CPR training section for juniors. Today we are learning how to save lives by performing CPR. They will learn how to do hands-on practice doing chest compressions, pushing hard and fast on chest to keep the heart pumping.
So we're here today teaching hands-only CPR. It's for all the juniors at all the the high schools here in Hall County, and it's to essentially save lives. You know, we know that whenever you can get by-centered CPR quicker with AED, with defibrillations, outcomes are improved 2 to 3 times.
It's important to learn how to do CPR because it will save lives and you can actually become an hero after.
All right, and that video was actually made by our Chesty High School students, and Stephen McIntyre is just all sheepishly and quietly back there. Raise your hand, Stephen. Nice job with those students. So we like to make sure that our students are leaders in all arenas. We appreciate them coming. So just a few pictures of our events. This is Chesty High School. We did get a good leadership photo there, that big one right there, but I'm going to let you just scroll through those for us. North Hall High School. You can see that Trojan green. Cherokee Bluff, our purple, bears shining through. Flowery Branch Falcons, our red and our black. Iverster Early Learning College, and they were the only ones that had people register when they arrived, so they had hard data on who actually showed up so they could hunt down those that might try to sneak out. And then West Hall High School, in their gym, their wrestling gym on those wrestling mats, and then our Johnson High School Knights. We were really pleased. The students really seemed to enjoy it. And then, of course, LCCA, one of our smaller groups, but strong groups. And our East Hall Vikings. And a special thanks. We really want Northeast Georgia to know we could not do this without them. They do such an exceptional job, and we do have a certificate for the 2 of you, and we like photographs, so sorry to put you through it. Cody, and then go ahead, and Mitch Ryder could not be here, but go ahead and give Mitch his, and we were going to make sure he could say. Let's take a picture. Let's move up here.
Get our cluster nurses in there too, please.
And I forgot to say my cluster nurses, but let me tell you, they show up and they bring it. Lots of loading equipment and making sure I got things taken care of. So Janice, raise your hand. Janice Allison, Angie Haynes, raise your hand. And then where'd Leslie go? Leslie McIntyre.
Thank you, Northeast Georgia. Thank you to our nurses. This is a skill. 1,200 individuals knowing hands-only CPR. They will save lives. So thank you very much. We appreciate you. And Andrea also wanted to take this opportunity while we had you here. We now have the capacity to offer physicals to our 3,700 team members. The health insurance pays for that through our own health service center at MedLink down at Chicopee Woods. Talk a little bit about that potential for the board, please.
All right, board members, Mr. Schofield, my visionary here, and it was such a great idea. Very interested in offering our team members to be able to go and get a physical. And since those physicals are 100% covered, we wanted to offer a carrot because we want everyone to get their wellness check. And so we wanted to offer, if they use our school-based health center, Hawks Health, they could get 2 hours of free sick time. In other words, we would not deduct that time. We would allow them to go during work hours and have that done. So if they have a doctor, they probably need to go ahead and follow up with that doctor. But if they don't, we really wanted to encourage them. This was a way for them to get their sick visit, their wellness check taken care of and have a little incentive from us to really prioritize their health. Any questions?
It was Dwight Eisenhower who said, "Healthy soldiers win wars, healthy teachers teach children." And I do think we're well served to try to make sure that they're on top of their own physical health. So any thoughts on that? Again, there'd be no cost to the district. It's already covered by their insurance. We have a lot of team members haven't had a physical in 10, 15, 20 years.
That would take the place of it. So
And we'd want them to use their own doctor if they're already doing that. But again, this would just be an opportunity to encourage those who are not.
Any questions? All right, and I'm always available by email if you think of some later, but we appreciate your support.
All right, at this time, I want to ask District Athletic Director, Mr. Stan Lewis, to come forward. We have some state champions we want to recognize tonight, Stan.
Yes, sir, Mr. Bales, we do. Anytime we get an opportunity to recognize state champions, it's a good thing. So first up, we've got the Cherokee Bluff High School competition cheerleading team with head coach is Rebecca Cooper here. If y'all would come up, please. AAA state champions. They're out there. Come on, there we go. Nope, right up here. This is the way we're going to do this. Here is your GHSA AAA
Principal Ramsey, come on up here. Come on. By the way,
State Championship competitive cheerleading team.
By the way, Principal Ramsey, how many state champions has Cherokee Bluff had in their short history? Woo!
Congratulations. Coach, I'm going to let you say a few words about the girls.
Oh, goodness. We don't have everyone here today because that's one thing about this team is they're so diverse. Most of them cheer on multiple teams, and so we have a couple at practice right now or cheering somewhere else. We have a couple with the flu, too. But they are dedicated. There is no doubt. We don't ever end. And as a matter of fact, some of these girls are going to cheer right up until tryouts and then do it all over again. So they're a year-round squad, even though we're just in fall to compete. And we couldn't be prouder to be the first in Cherokee Bluff history.
How many seniors, ladies? 2. So we'll see you next year, too? Yes, sir. All right. Good. Congratulations.
Congratulations, ladies. Y'all welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting if you like. Sure.
If any parent wants pictures tonight, just again let us know, and we'll send we'll send those pictures to Denise Ramsey and make them available to everyone.
Great. Thank you. Congratulations again, ladies. Okay, next up, we are going to recognize some folks in the area of fine arts. One-act play, North Hall High School, state champions for one-act play. I believe the production was A Year with Frog and Toad. And here is Director Jan Ewing to tell us a little bit about the team and the great success they had this year. So congratulations.
So in our production, we only had, I think there were 8 or 9 students that were on stage the whole time performing, singing, and dancing, but we had 50 people that were moving scenery. So of this group, only some of those people who were moles, were moving scenery, are here. But if you were in the cast, raise your hand. We also had, for state, we had, who was in the all-star cast? Was that you? Yes, Sage Dorsey and Sawyer Gray, and they were playing the snail and toad. And then our frog was also our best actor in the state, and that is Tate Paget. So. Do you want to have us like make a little better stage picture? Yeah, can you guys make a little stage picture? Get in close. Do selfie. Selfie. Selfie.
How many seniors in your group, Jan?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4.
We'll see you back. No, there's not. Congratulations, guys. That's wonderful.
Congratulations. State champions, AAA. Second time. Second time?
Second time. One act, yes.
When was the last time, Jan?
10 years ago. Okay.
All right, very good. Hey, that's good. That's great. Congratulations once again.
While they're exiting the room, do I have a motion to adopt the Consent agenda. All in favor?
All right. I've already knocked off the first one, which was the hands-only CPR update. Andrea took care of that for us. Second item I have tonight is substantive planning guide changes. Most of these changes you'll see here, like in the beginning, you'll see literature and composition 1, 2, 3, and 4. There are new ELA standards, and so the old-fashioned ninth grade lit, as an example, is no longer a course offering, and so you'll see it in the deletions. But these are the new course titles that we will offer in alignment with the state with regard to that. And then CTAE, Rhonda, you want to talk a little bit about the additions that we're looking at CTAE here in our planning guides. I am going to ask the board, because of the timeliness of us being able to produce the planning guides for our schools, that you take action tonight. So any questions you have, let's work through them tonight while we have Rhonda here for CTA, or questions for me or anyone else in the room.
Correct. So Kevin went over the English courses, and so those support courses will support that 9th and 10th. And if you'll notice that English Literature and Composition 2 is the state course that will be tested. For CTAE, we have a new initiative with the Georgia Department of Education. And so this new initiative involves if a student completes certain pathways and they complete all 3 courses, then they can earn a 4th ELA credit, a 4th math credit, or a 4th science credit. And currently, looking at this list, we had 5 pathways that we currently offer that will satisfy where students can earn our ELA credit. We have 8 mathematics courses that they can earn a 4th math, and 1 pathway currently right now that they can earn a science. Georgia DOE probably will add some additional pathways, but this is where we are now. It starts this school year. And so the important thing to remember is that the CTAE Plus is an initiative between the high school and the TCSG institutions. So this 4th math, English, or science will count for admissions for TSCG. Now, if they're going to a 4-year USG institution, they'll still need the traditional path, okay? And then in addition to that, we are adding a new pathway at East Hall High School, Poetry Science, so you'll see a couple of those courses. We are adding a new Health Information Management Medical Office pathway at Chestatee and West Hall, so you'll see those courses. Amanda is adding a new Advanced Placement course. As you know, this year we started the Heavy Equipment Operations pathway at East Hall, so we need to get those courses in the planning guide. And then Johnson High School is adding Masonry. Because of the English courses, we have a few deletions, so you can see those deletions there. And then a summary of the pathway changes. Any questions?
If there are no questions, do you have a motion to adopt? Do I have a motion? Second. All in favor?
Thank you so much. They'll be going to print tomorrow.
Thank you, Rhonda. This time, I'm going to give a literacy update to the board. Obviously, from K-5 perspective, we have implemented a new core curriculum this year, and so I'm going to ask my elementary director, Matt Alexander, to give an update to the board on where we are with literacy and our initiative this year. A lot of resources have been provided by this board to our teachers across the district.
Right, and again, we're so thankful that the board has committed to this early literacy and using a high-quality instructional materials. We began in June doing a training for all of our principals and assistant principals about how to support Benchmark Workshop and what they should look for as they visit classrooms. Very successful. Then in July, October, and January of this year, all of our elementary teachers had a half-day training. We also have implemented coaching cycles, which is really where we see a big bang for our buck in terms of every school has already had 3 trainings at the schools, and we'll have 2 more in the spring. These trainings have been really well received, really positive feedback from our staff, and that's going to translate to student results I'll talk about in a few minutes. Later in February, we're going to have a training for principals and assistant principals to really figure out how to finish the year strong, and then more specifically, what does Benchmark look for us in year 2? And so that's ongoing training that you have supported, which we're grateful for. This year, in terms of our student data, we're really excited. MAP growth data, which we look at for reading, this year in 12 of our 19 schools, we have better scores than we had last year. And more specifically, in kindergarten, 15 of our 19 schools are performing better than they did last year. And so we think that's in relationship to the curriculum, but even more importantly, the professional learning that this board has helped provide to our teachers. Currently, we're administering the characteristics of dyslexia screener through MAP reading fluency in grades 1 through 3, and then we're doing the screener MAP reading fluency for characteristics of reading difficulty in grades kindergarten. We'll do the dyslexia screener for kindergarten in the spring. That was under advisement from the DOE because, again, with kindergarten specifically, we want to give them more time to develop as readers and writers before we begin to over-identify them. We will turn in numbers to the state in February. We've gotten an extension. Actually, today the state gave us an extension because of the inclement weather we've had. So we'll report numbers to the state in February in terms of the number of students we have who show characteristics of dyslexia and then characteristics of reading difficulties. You might think, why is it going to take so much longer if we already administered the screener? And the reality is this. Any student who flags with a particular cut score, we then have to use a rubric to look at the whole child, which is a very good thing. Where we're struggling a little bit is the fact that we've gotten very little guidance from the state. And so a child who may have only been in the country 3 months, we still have to sit down and look at that whole child. And we ask the state, what's our guidance in terms of those second language learners? The guidance is look at the whole child. And so that's going to take it's a heavy lift for our schools, very clearly. In part of that, we're going to have to send a letter to, and we're happy to do this, send a letter to every child, K through 3, to say they're great, they're not showing any difficulties of reading, or they're showing some difficulties, or they're showing characteristics of dyslexia, or they may have flagged, but we see other reasons like they're an EL student, or they already are a special education student where they already have an IEP in place that serves their needs. So that's a process we're going through. A big change that happened in December that I want to make sure the board's aware of is we've been using MAP reading fluency this year as our screener, as have close to 25% of the districts in the state of Georgia. The state board made the decision to limit this to 5 screeners. MAP reading fluency was not one of those screeners. So we've shared that with our teachers through a video myself and Dr. Stacy Wagner created to share that we won't be able to use MAP reading fluency next year. We don't know what we're going to use yet, and based on what, as we've talked in cabinet, Mr. Schofield and Mr. Bales have certainly said, let's wait and see where the state's leading. They may provide us a screener next year. They may provide one screener statewide, but we don't know yet. And they haven't given us a real firm timeline. And as the legislature's in session, we know that could change as well. So that's something we're certainly being well aware of. Again, we've seen good results with Benchmark this year. Where we really believe is that when we have students that have been in this program 2 to 3 years, that we're really going to begin to see some really, really strong gains for our students. Again, we're pleased with where we are. We're excited about the commitment this board has shown to early literacy and to professional learning. We know that this has probably been our most ambitious professional learning we've ever done in this district in the last 20 years. And so, of course, our next steps are going to be like, what do we do to support that in year 2 for our students? So that's an update of where we are. Happy to take any questions. And again, thank you as a board for what you've done to support elementary. It does, yes, ma'am. It has screeners. It has weekly and monthly screeners, but they don't qualify as that universal screener that the state requires us to use K3. So that's why we're kind of waiting to see if the if the state says we're going to pay for a screener. We're happy to take the state's money if they do that for us. Well, we have the screener that we've used this year, yes, ma'am, MAP reading fluency. But again, that was not on the approved board for approved list for next year. So we'll have to wait and see. All right. Thank y'all.
Thank you, Matt. Last item I have tonight is field trips, 3 field trips. One is the yearly WLA middle request to go to Costa Rica. This is a trip that has been pretty common for WLA, and then we have Davis Middle School and West Hall Middle School. And I don't know why the WLA middle is not showing on yours, but let me give you that information so that you have it. It's March 29th through April the 5th. And it is for approximately 13 students with 2 chaperones. And again, that's a trip they've made for each of the last several years. And then you see the other 2 on the screen there. And I'm going to ask the consideration to approve all 3 of those.
Kevin, the world language has been fundraising for the 3 years they've been in middle school, so they raised their own funds. Is that correct?
That is correct.
It is.
motion to adopt the field trips?
Motion.
I have a second. Any other questions? All in favor?
Jonathan?
Yes, sir. Financial report is before you. Overall, we are trending in the right direction that we would like to be for December. Expenditures are slightly under budget, which is what we like to see. And then revenues are in a healthy place as well. If you have any questions, just let me know. Yes, sir.
Budget amendment number 3, Jonathan?
Yes, sir. Tonight, we are bringing before you Budget Amendment number 3. The overwhelming majority of items within this budget amendment are related to state and federal grants, which throughout the year, the state adjusts the amount that we are awarded, and so we adjust our budget accordingly to match those. However, there are a few items that are more local, so one of those items being a request that was mentioned at a board meeting a little while back for a position related to open records requests. Additionally, $572,000 adjustment for health benefits related to bus monitors, and that's in accordance with federal requirements for the number of hours being performed. And then also $10,000 in relation to instructional furniture and equipment at East Hall Middle School. If you have any questions about the specifics, just let me know.
Motion? Second? Have a second. All in favor? Have a motion to second? All in favor?
Forward, our policy is consistent with the state, say we only need amendments and oversight at the fund level. We do it just to show everything for 100% transparency, so thank you for bringing that forward. School-based activity report as required quarterly. Johnson?
Yes, sir. School-based activity report is typical for this time of year. You will notice a large adjustment for DL Elementary, and that's just a situation where we had a bookkeeper who accidentally miscoded several deposits, and so we had those voided and reversed and then re-entered. So that's why you'll see those transactions in that way.
Facility and expansion program. Matt?
Yes, sir. The funding requests that you see, the 3 funding requests are from the work session, just bringing those forward for action tonight.
Nothing.
No, sir.
I have a motion to approve the funding request. Second? All in favor?
Great. Oh, yes. Questions? Okay. Had a great recommendation from BOE, who came in and looked at the improvement for the site at North Hall Middle School in terms of trying to get cars off of Rilla Road and create a safer traffic pattern. Matt, you want to show us what the latest iteration you have? Sure. Which makes an awful lot of sense and does not have buses crossing car traffic at pickup or at drop-off.
Yes, sir. So if you kind of think of how this works currently, what's happening is cars are coming in here, coming around this way, looping out and coming out somewhere right in here. Our buses are coming this way at the same time, so we're having to stop that traffic flow a couple of times, which really, we have a lot of car riders at North Hall Middle anyway, a lot of car rider traffic, so that makes it very difficult. Actually, that crossing is kind of tough. The previous plan we had shown had us coming in down here somewhere, looping, coming back out this way, but we still had some of the same issues with the crossing. Had some conversations with Bo, as the superintendent mentioned, and also with principal. Showed him this idea here, and I believe that this is going to be an improvement. This gets us full separation of our buses, so our buses can come out here. Our cars are actually going past that. They're getting in a turn lane here. they're looping around up to 3 lanes here all the way as much as the school is comfortable doing.
Matt,
as far
help
as that
people
goes.
orient. Show where Rilla Road is.
I'm
because
sorry,
that's
Rilla
what I'm-
Road is right down here, kind of
Thank you.
curving around right there. So anyway, I think this is actually an improvement in a lot of ways. It also allows us to get back out right here. So back to red. When you come back out here, this allows us to actually continue the line and continue to let that happen, even if we're stopped for buses. So the buses go in 2 rounds. Basically, what happens is you load half the buses at the middle school, half at the high school, and then they switch. So this allows all of that to happen in a little bit of a better way. A few less cars, it's 30 less cars, but it's in the stack. But again, when I talked with the principal, he said a lot of the issue is that crossing. And so we feel like that this would be a good answer for the situation. Just open it up for questions if there are any questions about.
Actually, could it be a little savings too, isn't there?
Yes, sir.
3,000 fewer yards of haul off?
Less haul off. We did have a retaining wall right here in the previous design because we had to pull up so far to get looped back around. This actually eliminates that. They're calling for possibly a small wall here, which is like 3 feet tall or something like that. So this is the engineer called it a win-win. So this looks like a good answer. We appreciate the input.
Question. So that being said, we're going to proceed with that plan. Thank you. Personnel, Dr. Swafford.
Yes, we have before you tonight the personnel packet for this evening, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have. Yes, and they're highlighted in yellow.
If there are no questions, I'd like to recommend that the personnel packet be approved as presented.
Motion. Do I have a second? All in favor? All right, it's time for citizens' input. We do have 2 separate sign-in sheets, one for the regular board meeting, and there is another one if you'd like to speak on the hearing for the House Bill 581. Susan Smith.
Well, is it good afternoon or good evening? I don't even know yet. Happy New Year. I haven't been able to talk to you guys yet. 2 things that are on my mind. One, last night, I typically take the agenda and download it so I can look and see what's going on, and it was not available. So, you know, I don't think there are any particular rules in placing the agenda on early, but it would help to see the agenda, what's going to be discussed, and maybe the attachments, so that the public could make comments before it's brought here and voted on. We can't make any comments. You've already voted on it. So that's kind of, you know, just we'd like to be able to see what you're going to be talking about and maybe be able to make comments ahead of time, sort of like you are doing tonight with 581, but in general. So that's one thing. The other is I still would like to request that the live stream be recorded and be made available to people to watch at a different time than 5 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Smith, and we'd like to apologize. Didn't we miss something in terms of a toggle? Because in the 20 years, I can't remember that happening. What was it? Okay. Okay. So, great point.
Eric? Well, we only had 1 sheet to start with, and we realized we should have 2 of them. Raylan? Vicky?
Hi, Hi, Vicki Kennedy. I'm living still in Hall County, not White County. I do want to thank the board for this past year. We've learned a lot as far as the group. We've now grown on the Concerned Citizens to over 3,000 people who are following us and wanting to know what is being done with the taxes in Hall County. I have learned terms I've never heard before: IEP, Cognia, Georgia and U.S. Department of Education. These are things I never intended to learn, but we're getting involved and we're going to stay involved. Our short minute of fame has extended to over 7 months, and we're not going anywhere. We want accountability, and we still want transparency in everything that we do as far as where taxpayers' money is going. And so we appreciate Brad Brown and him helping us get the open records that we've requested, and thank you for your time.
Good evening. I'm sure I'll probably go over, but I'll supply the rest for everybody. Well, first I'd like to say I'm glad that there's nobody retiring this evening, so we don't have to worry about the focus going to cake instead of our citizens. I stand before you this evening. I'm deeply disappointed and betrayed by the current state of our school system. My family's recently experienced some issues. Last month we came and spoke, and it was just kind of trashed, and that was really disappointing. So I'm going to share a personal story. 28 years ago, my grandmother was gracious enough to remove me from the public school system and put me in private school due to abusive behaviors from my teacher and other students. I never imagined that I would face a similar situation with my own child. Yet this morning I found myself dropping her off at a private school for a trial run. Decision was not made lightly, and after repeated mistreatments from staff members and the refusal to allow her to go to the guidance office, I had no choice. Unfortunately, SB 10 funds don't cover all of that. They don't cover gas or anything else, wear and tear. They don't cover my time. They don't cover the stress on my other kids. But it's something we're willing to do. At the last meeting, our 13-year-old daughter spoke. The issues that were plaguing her and this district were ignored. Children are being mistreated in our schools, and instead of holding individuals accountable, the district's response has been to provide the victims with coping skills. This sends a harmful message that being mistreated is acceptable and should just be simply endured. What's worse is that this approach allows abuse and manipulation to thrive under the guise of helping children. By teaching students to tolerate mistreatment instead of addressing the root causes or holding perpetrators accountable, you're enabling a culture where manipulation is normalized. The system is effectively silencing victims and teaching them compliance instead of empowerment, and conditioning them to accept mistreatment as part of life. This is not only unacceptable, it's dangerous. Our children deserve to grow up in an environment where they are protected, supported, and taught to recognize and stand against abusive behaviors, not adapt to them. We're also being told that DSG is a skills group. I've seen the curriculum now. I've looked over it with several licensed mental health professionals, and it's not what you're claiming it to be. The material being presented does not match the descriptions provided to the parents. The lack of transparency erodes trust even further. If the curriculum is solid and above reproach, why are you misrepresenting it? There's no reason for that. This kind of deception practiced only deepens the divide between the parents and the districts, and it reinforces the perception that the well-being of the children is not your priority. I'll stop it there. I'll give you the rest. Thank you.
Mandy Harris.
Mine's just the same sad story. The last work session meeting, I tried to log on through the little link so I can get on it on my home computer. And the only thing it links over to is a YouTube page that shows up on the front of the screen. It doesn't give me anywhere to link into the
meeting that's going on. So I really wish y'all look into that, so that I can't come to every meeting, but it sure would be great if the link worked so that I could watch it from home when I need to. And again, I would like to ask that that y'all really this year, sooner than later, consider recording these meetings and putting them online so that they can be watched by more than just those of us who are here in this room, because I do feel like we are pressed for time, all the families are, and you can't be involved in all the school activities because, you know, a lot of this reaches parents and grandparents, and we cannot be at everywhere supporting all the kids and be here at all these meetings too, especially at dinner time on Mondays. So really, if somebody has a good reason as to why they're not going, you know, online being videotaped, I would really be interested to know that. But otherwise, if y'all really could do that, we certainly would appreciate it very much. Thank you.
Aaron, were you aware that there were problems last month?
No, sir. I'm checking right now. We took live.
Okay.
We had a number of people online last month. So.
So if you go to the page that says, you know, click on the link here, and you click on that link, is there a time frame you can only log in as soon as the meeting starts? The only thing it would link me over to is the YouTube page where y'all do little YouTube videos. And no matter how many times I click it.
Yeah, can you show me afterwards, please? Sure. Thank you.
All right, Brenda? Rose?
I'm Brenda Rose. I live in Lula, and I am a taxpayer, and a pinched taxpayer, I might say. So I have a few questions for the board regarding, well, a couple of questions, but the first one regarding Mr. Schofield's contract for DSG. I would like to know why you would agree to a contract, first of all, that for a curriculum that his wife wrote and said, hey, okay, let's put this in Hall County, because that's not a conflict of interest because, you know, of your position. So why would you approve that, for one? For two, why would you approve that Hall County pays for that to be compiled, and then Mr. Schofield and his wife make all the profits? Like, are you not here for the taxpayers? Why, tell me that's not a conflict of interest, and please explain to me how it's not. Okay, my second point is in Mr. Schofield's contract, paragraph 10, under renewal and termination, clause B states a reason for termination would be incompetency or inefficiency in the performance of required or assigned duties documented by evaluations or other evaluation documentation, but only upon showing that the board has provided the superintendent with a reasonable opportunity to meet any incompetency or inefficiency. So in regards to the reading and math scores in this county that are below 30%, I'd say that's pretty incompetent. The fact that he and his wife pocket all of the proceeds and the taxpayers pay, and you want us to keep continuing paying, this is just a tip of the iceberg for the things that we pay for and the funds that have been misappropriated. But is that not immoral? Yes, I would say so. So under H, the clause for termination states, immorality being conduct, not conformity with the accepted moral standards of the community, including conduct indicative of corruption, indecency, and depravity.
Go ahead and finish.
That's pretty much all I have, so please explain to me if you would, because I know none of you respond. I'd also like to say that it's pretty disturbing that a high school student would come here to speak publicly, because this isn't easy, okay? Would come here publicly looking for help, and all of you, every single one of you, sat here silent, didn't even acknowledge her, not a word. So I'm not expecting an acknowledgement to my questions either, but know that not just me would like to know answers to this. Thank you.
Frank?
To start with, I want to let you know that this begins my 5th year of urging you to do the right thing regarding the climate crisis. Our world is threatened by many crazy situations, most of which you cannot do anything about. But you can act to mitigate climate change. Bo's a financial guy, and I have 2 hypothetical questions for him. First, in 2022, the Hall County School Board spent $3.6 million on electricity. That means that including that year, since then, the school district burned more than $10 million. Solar electric systems are an investment. Our house has electricity producing solar panels on the roof. They produce 1/3 of the electricity we use each month. Does it make sense that Hall County schools should burn $300,000 per month when solar electric systems at schools could save a good portion of that money? Second, you have 2 daughters who will most likely be alive in 2100. I have 4 grandchildren I expect to be alive then. What will the world they live in be like if the climate crisis is not addressed? Why we must act now. Climate change is not a distant or abstract issue. It is a present and accelerating crisis that threatens the stability of ecosystems, economies, and societies worldwide. The scientific consensus is clear. Human activities, particularly our reliance on fossil fuels, are driving an unprecedented increase in global temperatures. This rise in temperature is already causing devastating consequences, from extreme weather events to habitat loss and species extinction. Despite the overwhelming evidence, many still underestimate the severity of climate change or feel helpless to make a difference. Even as the U.S., which is about 2% of the Earth's surface, shivers through abnormally cold temperatures, the world as a whole is breaking heat records. So far, 2025 has the hottest first 20 days of a year on record, according to Europe's Copernicus Climate Service. In the past 365 days, the U.S. weather stations have recorded 5 times as many heat records as cold, according to the National Oceanic and Atmosphere Administration. Earth reached its hottest year on record in 2024, according to the Commission's Copernicus Climate Service, the UK Met Office, and Japan's Weather Agency. The article says analysts concluded that last year's global surface average temperature was more than 1.5 degrees centigrade above pre-industrial baseline used to measure global warming. There's no reason that the Hall County School District should not include solar electric installation in the construction and renovation project in the 10-year plan for the district. Can he ask me a question?
Y'all can do that after the meeting. Y'all can have that discussion after our meeting. All right. If no one else has signed up to speak for the regular meeting, we'll move right on into well, we're a little bit early. We're a little bit early. We'll give another 10 minutes. Meeting's supposed to start for the hearing at 6 o'clock.